Hey everyone, got a couple things this week. The first thing is my pet peeve of the week. My pet peeve this week is people who laugh at themselves or their own jokes, even when they're not even remotely funny. So I think you guys know what kind of people I'm talking about. They'll come in and say something that they think is clever or witty, and then they'll laugh at themselves like it was the funniest thing ever said, like they had a team of writers behind them, and you're supposed to feel obligated to laugh as well because of the comedic genius of what they just said. So for example, you meet up with somebody and it's really hot out and they say, "It's hotter than the sun out there." At that point, you're left with a couple of options. You can do the courteous, fake sort of laugh, which is sort of a... Of course, you're not laughing quite as hard as they are, but you're pretending that you found it semi-funny. The next thing you do is pretend that you didn't really notice the joke, or the lack of joke in this case, and that you're busy with something else. So after they laugh like an idiot, you go... Something like that usually works for me. But for me, those things are difficult to do. I used to work at gas stations when I was going through high school and college, and I got so annoyed at people doing it that I found it hard to do anything but just stare at them with a blank look on my face. Now, a good example of this is the show Pawn Stars. I don't know if you watch the show Pawn Stars, but one of the main characters is a guy named Rick Harris, and that guy laughs at everything he says. Belly laughs, like it's just comedic gold. And it's really interesting to watch the customers' faces. And I pointed it out to my wife one day, and we would watch the customers' faces. And there was just a whole plethora of different reactions from... I don't think I've ever actually seen somebody laugh, legitimately laugh at something that he said. Most of the time it's just sort of a courteous, okay, I pretend that's funny, now let's get down to seeing how much this is worth kind of funny. And now that I pointed it out, it's really all my wife and I can pay attention to, which is relatively sad. Now back to the gas station story. I also got annoyed with people, and this is kind of off the pet peeve topic, but people would start saying the same thing over and over to me. So for example, say it's minus 40 degrees, which up here in the Great White North, it has gotten that cold, and I live in Ottawa, and it does get that cold from time to time. So standing outside pumping gas in minus 40 degrees, of course, is not a pleasant thing. And when people come in to pay, they want to tell me about it. So every single person who comes in, now you got to remember at the time I was working at a gas station that was considered one of the most busy gas stations in Ottawa. So I was seeing literally a person every 30 seconds. And every single one of them felt obligated to tell me how cold it was outside. Like somehow I lived in the kiosk and I actually didn't get out and hadn't been out since the 60s. So I really just had to take their word for it. I know, I've been outside, I know it's cold. So they would come in and say everything from, it's cold, Jack Frost is nipping at my nuts, one guy said. So to keep myself amused, I started writing down all the different ways that people would tell me how cold it was outside. Well, I had a little pad, and I got through 3 pages, and that became sort of boring. So the next thing I decided to do was, I wrote a sign that said, "Please don't tell me how cold it is outside, I already know." And I put that on the front of my cash. So what people would do is come in and either not see it and tell me how cold it was outside, or they would read it and say, "I guess everybody's telling you how cold it is outside." So in the end, I could not win. I just had to sit there and listen to it. I actually brought the list home, and my parents kept it for a couple of years. They can't find it anymore. I wish they could. Kind of a throwback to my wit/impatience at the time. So if there's anything to be learned here, try not to laugh at your own jokes. There's a good possibility that other people don't find it all that funny. Get it? My next topic is once again related to YouTube. One of the reasons why I decided to keep making videos was that even though I'm not getting a lot of views because I don't have a lot of subscribers, my videos were consistently placing really high in the most favorited, top rated, and most discussed. Now those ratings were worldwide in comedy, so I felt pretty good about that. I knew I was not going to get into the views category anytime soon, but if people were browsing based on those things, they would see my videos consistently at the top in all 3 categories. Not at the top, but on the first page. And so that was one of the things I thought I had going for me, and it would just be a matter of time. Well, as it turns out, YouTube just made a change, and now the only thing they list by is views. They don't list by popularity or favorites anymore. It's not an option for people viewing videos to see that. All that really does to people like me is make it even more impossible to try to get my stuff out there. The already popular are getting more popular, and all of the new people are just falling by the wayside. Again, I have the impression it all has to do with money. I mean, what do they have to gain by giving a guy like me exposure when they're already making tons and tons of money from the Ray William Johnsons and Shane Dawsons of the world? Nothing. Their attitude is probably, let's just stick with what's popular, we're already making money from it, and to hell with everyone else. Now, I used to spend a lot of time sending messages to people asking them to watch my videos, but I realized after doing that for a year, I got about 5,000 subscribers after sending literally hundreds of messages, And when I moved to my new channel, only 500 of those subscribers followed me over. So that made me think that 4,500 people who subscribe to me don't even watch my videos. So I don't do that anymore. So I don't get any subscribers anymore. Anyway, it's discouraging to say the least. I said I would continue to the end of the year. Kind of on the fence now, but I'll keep making videos for at least in the short term. And we'll see what happens. I think YouTube is a great thing. You know, it's kind of like the American Idol of the video world. It allows people who don't have the means but may have the ability to make decent videos a forum to show those videos. But unfortunately, it's set up in such a way that the people who got in early and got popular are doing well, and everyone else really has to struggle to try to get anywhere. And there's lots of places where you can cheat, you can buy subscribers and views and all kinds of other stuff. And there's a lot of people that have all kinds of all kinds of popularity, and their shows are dog shit, to be honest with you. And I go and watch videos from. I watched a Shane Dawson video the other day. I got to see what the draw is with this guy. And I watched this video and I thought, okay, this isn't a terrible video, but there's so many other videos out there that are at least equally as good. Why is this guy so popular? You know, I tried to look for the formula. I have no idea what it is. I do not know. Maybe I'll never know. Anyway, that's all I got for this week for the vlog. Feel free to comment. Feel free to... oh, one more thing. I was really almost disappointed that the comment section in my last video didn't turn into a shitstorm. I was expecting the religious banter to go. I guess the fact that I got 300 views probably had something to do with that. Maybe I'll just give it time. There's always hope. Anyway, see you next week.